We've just entered week 3 of season 20. What do you mean week 8? The heck? Okay then. Time has certainly flown by. Sounds like a fine time to round up some Season of the Deep and future info. This will be a hefty amount of info, so you have been warned. So you could leave this on in the background and go do something much more fun, like eating food per se, as there will just be random gameplay and screenshots throughout the vid. Or you could be a madman and just watch the entire thing, which will likely be equivalent to watching paint dry. Your choice though. Let's begin with a small Guardian Games roundup. Skip ahead if you just want to get to the future season stuff and avoid some minor spoilers. The 4th Guardian Games will be launching on the reset after this coming one. This will be the first one after all 3 classes have won at least one, so it'll definitely be interesting to see what goes down. After this most recent update, we can now see some new things coming to the event in the database, including a new Omelon kinetic scout called Traxipos, something like that. Looking at its possible perks, it has some nice ones like explosive payload, 4th times, and even hatchling, which does make this look like a possible strand scout. We can also see the new class items, new Eververse ornament sets, and the new seal. We'll likely hear more info on what the event will be like in a coming TWAB, so look out for that. Also, this will be the first time we'll be able to earn the Reveler seal for acquiring all 4 event seals this year. Now to the bigger stuff. As of now, we know that Bungie plans to make aggressive frame SMGs a bit less aggressive. Damage is going to be reduced, and the change will be targeted at shifting the TTK, time to kill, from 0.67 seconds down to 0.77 seconds against most players. If you didn't see this coming, then I don't know what to tell you. Continuing on, hipfire reticles are going to get some love, with more information being displayed on your reticle for weapons. Possible displays include accuracy, aim assist, charge stay, like for fusions, and exotic perk states. I will link the video Bungie made on test builds of these reticles in the description. And would you believe it? A 10% sniper damage buff! It finally happened. Snipers have not been in the limelight since Shadowkeep back in 2019. Outside of Izanagi's, snipers needed some serious love and attention. Maybe finally all those god roll snipers in the vault can have the dust blown off them. There'll also be a sweep of exotic weapon buffs and adjustments, including Graviton Lance and Salvation's Grip, so likely buffs to some underused exotics. They go on to say that beyond Season 21, next season, the link between zoom and damage falloff is going to be looked at, as well as the base damage falloff of weapons all around. This link is being looked at being removed to allow for better control of weapon engagement ranges and the alteration of zoom without altering a weapon's overall feel to the player. Moving on, when it comes to Guardian ranks and commendations, starting a new season will display your highest rank achieved from the previous season, and achieving a higher rank in the next season will then overwrite that lower rank. If you want to reach a higher rank, only the blue tinted challenges need to be completed, as these ones reset every season. As we already know, a portion of our commendation score will be reset each season. Thankfully not the entire thing. In addition, a new display will be added to the Journey tab that will reflect your seasonal history, see the image. It will include Guardian ranks, commendation score and breakdown, seasonal challenges, and seasonal triumph score. The image is possibly still a work in progress, so keep that in mind. Plan for next season, returning players will be set at rank 5 instead of 6, with ranking up from 5 to 7 being much faster than 6 to 7 at launch. Renewing rank 7 will also be faster by going through seasonal offerings once again. Bungie also plans to remix rank 6 to 11 to, I quote, provide a better expression of skill between those ranks. In addition, in the coming weeks, the eligibility for commendations based on activity participation will be updated. Not sure if this has happened yet, but we have gotten the best dress commendation now. Starting next season, receiving leadership commendation requirements for ranks 10 and 11 will become retroactive, thank God. This means that any activities where you receive those commendations at a rank lower than 10 will still count towards that progress. When it comes to Vanguard scoring and rep, we all know how annoying it's been to reach high scores in some Nightfalls due to low multipliers or minimal enemies to kill. In the future, Bungie have said that they will take a pass at low score multipliers and objectives to help smoothen things out a bit, specifically Nightfall scoring objectives and dares bounties. They also want to add a throttle to prevent certain exploits as an optimal strategy to accumulate score. Some adjustments have already been made, notably in the Arms Dealer and Heist Battlegrounds. They finish by saying that they plan on doing a full review of Vanguard scoring of this season at the end of this season, and may tune more depending on the reviews. On to Buildcrafting. Player feedback has shown that they want subclasses and armor mods to better integrate with armor charge through the acquisition of subclass specific collectibles. These include Fire Sprites, Ionic Traces, Void Breaches, and Stasis Shards. So, 2 new mods are being added next season, which have similarities to some that we have previously seen. The first is Powerful Attraction, which allows you to collect orbs within a radius when using your class ability, that radius increasing with the number of copies equipped, possibly diminishing. They also note that recreating Seeking Wells as Seeking Orbs was heard, but would be a bit difficult from a technical point, as these assets are spawning very frequently across a fire team. The second mod is Elemental Charges, where collecting the subclass collectible matching your damage type gives you an escalating chance to grant you 1 armor charge. They add that destroying tangles will act as the subclass spawn object strand. They also add that the frequency of gaining a stack is tuned differently to account for spawning frequency and volume. An example of this being Stasis Shards being much more frequent than Fire Sprites or Void Breaches. Shoot to Loot, everybody's favourite, is also getting an update, being able to also shoot orbs next season. They add that being able to shoot subclass spawn objects was evaluated, but wasn't feasible due to technical limits. To end with, Bungie reiterates that each strand subclass will be getting a new aspect next season, these being Fletchette Storm, hope I said that right, for Titan, Threaded Spectre for Hunter, and the Wanderer for Warlock. Some more changes. Next season, the ability to refund and apply individual artifact perks will be with a single action. Thank the Traveler. Tech limits made it take a season, but we got there in the end. As is probably known by now, the power cap will not be increasing next season, so trials will be launching in week 1 instead of taking a short hiatus at the start. This could be something that becomes an ongoing change as well if all the stars align. Similarly, with GMs, weekly GMs will launch in week 4 next season instead of week 7. But this is only for the rotating GM, not the Conqueror Gilding node. Here's something that many players have been asking for. With exotics, armor focusing is coming to Rahul next season. All exotic engrams, besides those awarded in Lost Sectors, Vex Strike Force, Nightfalls, etc., won't auto-decrypt. They will instead sit in your engram inventory and can be focused at 2 tiers. Advanced Decryption will have engrams focused to a specific release, meaning an expansion like the Witch Queen. Seasonal releases will still be included in that yearly expansion. The cost will be 1 exotic engram, 1 Ascendant Shard, and 30,000 Glimmer. The second tier is Precision Decryption, where you can directly focus any desired and acquired exotic. It will have a much higher cost, being 1 exotic engram, 3 Ascendant Shards, 60,000 Glimmer, and an exotic cipher. Lol, inflation. Due to this, the cipher limit will be raised from 1 to 5. Good. Like usual, you can still decrypt exotic engrams at Rahul for free, but you cannot acquire unobtained exotics from focusing. These will still come from Vex Strike Force and Lost Sectors. They do finish off by saying that they will move new exotic acquisition to a more accessible location in the future, whenever and wherever that may be. To be revealed later are the upgrading of more than 15 underperforming exotic armors and balancing of others, more raid/dungeon exotic drop rate improvements through triumphs, and a pass at Vanguard bounties that require specific weapon or ability kills. also more will be shared later. Let's go to something more shooty and less inflation. As usual, we have a slew of weapons entering and leaving the various loot pools around the game. Leaving this season, for Nightfalls, Mindbender's Ambition Shotty and Militia's Birthright Breach Nade Launcher will be leaving. For Trials, the Inquisitor's Slug Shotty and Whistler's Whim Bow. For Iron Banner, the Wizen Rebuke Fusion and the Hero's Burden SMG. And for Comp, the Rose Hand Cannon will also be leaving. Entering loot pools next season, for Nightfalls, the returning Braytech Osprey Rocket and Loaded Question Fusion. For Vanguard, the returning Positive Outlook Auto. For Gambit, a Strand Linear Fusion. For Crucible, the returning Randy's Throwing Knife Scout, a fan favourite. For Trials, an Arc Glaive and the returning Messenger Pulse. For Iron Banner, a Strand Fusion and the returning Swarm of the Raven Heavy Nade Launcher. And for Comp, an Arc Sniper will be entering the pool. Some cool things coming, definitely. Let me know what you're excited for. Looking at earlier discussions, to start off with, due to plenty of feedback, next season will not feature a vendor upgrade grid. You know, the 2x9 or 3x9 grids we've seen for many seasons now. This does not mean an upgrade grid is off the grid forever, no pun intended. But Bungie wants to, and I quote, create more varied experimental frameworks and slowly create a wide array of different systems for players to show their investment into seasonal content. They continue to say that the variety will flow into moment-to-moment gameplay experienced in later seasons. In seasons 21 and 22, we will see more fresh activity experiences. Bungie reminds us of the introduction of the Shattered Realm in Season 15 or Battlegrounds in Season 13. When it comes to good old weapon crafting, for Season 21, Bungie are planning an addition they call Deep Sight Activation or Manual Deep Sight, where you are able to voluntarily apply Deep Sight to a weapon if it has a pattern you can unlock. This will only be able to be done on weapons that haven't had Deep Sight previously extracted, and Deep Sight cannot be activated on a single weapon multiple times, which does make sense. Cost will be more depending on the weapon, like a raid weapon costing more than a seasonal weapon. Also makes sense. Speaking of currencies, you know those resonant and harmonic alloys somewhere in your inventory? Those will be getting removed in future seasons. No definite timeline, however. One more crafting change is weapon level boosting. A new weapon mod will be added to increase the level of a crafted or enhanced weapon that will cost standard currencies. This may be helpful in unlocking better perks on a weapon, so you do not have to use a role you're not a fan of, even though it may not be as bad as you really think. This will be something coming after Season 21. Moving away from crafting, I think we can all agree that exotic missions are really fun. Starting in Season 22, an exotic mission Rotator will be added to the game. This will feature previous exotic missions rotating weekly. Initially, this will contain 3 missions: Presage from Season 13, Vox Obscura from Season 16, and Operation Seraph's Shield from Season 19. Bungie finished by saying that this framework will hopefully let them use the Rotator to bring back more classic missions from the past. This could hopefully mean Whisper and 0 Hour's triumphant return. But this will likely be a lot of work as those missions were built pre-Beyond Light engine. Let's get to PvP, everyone's favourite point of contention. Every other season, a new weapon will be added to the comp playlist. As stated previously, Rose will be replaced by a new Arc Sniper in Season 21. In addition, a new emblem for reaching the Ascendant rank will be earnable every season, whilst retiring the previous one. A unique transmat effect will also be available for reaching Silver 3 or higher, visually changing based on your current division. Pretty neat. In future seasons, Bungie says that they are committing to a wide range spawn retune, as it hasn't kept up with the evolving game. Think we can agree on that with the amount of unhelpful spawns we get in PvP. Disjunction, Convergence, and Cathedral of Dusk are being targeted, along with Control, Clash, and Rift. More spawns are being added for these. Backfield spawns for Control and Clash will possibly be disabled, along with the adjustment of objective and allies influence to help with friendlier spawns. Alternate objective locations are being looked at, and lane maps may become more round, meaning objectives and spawns should be more central for 3v3 and non-objective game modes. In terms of lobby balancing, Bungie are investigating a new style to make team compositions feel more even in terms of skill across teams, while also keeping team balancing close. For Iron Banner, Bungie are looking to decouple the method to earn a daily rep booster by being a specific subclass, but aren't happy with a solution yet. In addition, Rift isn't too friendly to solo players, PvE players, or new players. To address this, they say they will have an Iron Banner twist to the mode, as well as new twists in the future. In Season 21, we also have the return of Meltdown from back in Warmind. In Season 22, a new Vex network map will launch, and Season 23 will also bring the return of Citadel from the Forsaken era. Several new and returning game modes are also coming in the future, with Countdown back this season. In Season 22, there will be a brand new game mode called Checkmate, which Bungie says is a significant shift from our core experience. The mode intends to create a slower paced experience where players will be able to react to encounters more, and where power spikes will be earned rather than guaranteed. It also includes changes to special ammo acquisition, ability recharge rates, weapon TTK, and health settings. The mode also acts as a modifier and can be applied to multiple game modes if desired. They finished off by saying they want to continue this conversion with other modes leading up to the final shape, like Mayhem and Momentum. Speaking of rituals, as Bungie mentioned a while ago, they want to make some targeted changes to ritual content based on player content interaction. They want to provide more options to engage with rituals and push more rewards into ritual content, including shifting initial exotic drops away from lost sectors and back into core rituals, no longer asking players to earn all 3 ritual weapon ornaments for seasonal challenges, and allowing players to earn more rewards and play content the way they wish for the completion of weekly challenges. Pretty neat. They continue saying that it will be a slow process over this year, but want to be more direct in the final season of the year and dedicate more development time toward a more core ritual focused season. That doesn't mean it won't have plenty of story and seasonal stuff though, so let's not riot. But they do want to take the time before the final shape to give the core rituals and pursuits a proper polish. For a larger system introduction, as we've known since last year, Bungie will be adding an in-game LFG, that's looking for group, feature to the game. Hopefully making finding groups that want to run similar content that much simpler. They have already stated that their initial desire to get it in-game by Season 22 alongside the next Reprise raid won't be happening, as they do want to take the time to get it right. Instead, it will be launching in Season 23 alongside the second dungeon of the year. Hello there, this is me after finishing this roundup, coming in hot with yet more info dumps. Bungie released an article on accessibility. First, they are going to add enemy targeted reticle color, which allows players to change the hue of the hipfire reticle when hovering over enemies, the current being red. Because of these new options, players using colorblind settings will have the color applied to their targeted reticle removed. Back in Season 19, the full auto setting was introduced to allow most weapons to fire in full auto mode. This name is being changed to full auto firing, as we are now getting a full auto melee setting next season. Just like firing, holding down the fire button will repeat the melee action for powered and unpowered melee abilities, melee attacks in a roaming super, and swords and glaives. Speaking of buttons, a new setting is also being added next season that allows controller players to swap the buttons used for confirm and cancel actions. Nice little change. Even subtitles are getting some love, with a new colour being added in the form of a different yellow hue. The colour selection has also changed to a drop-down menu, previously left to right. The colour selections are also now rectangles instead of text to make previewing a colour simpler. In the recent TWAB, if you remember several months ago, Bungie held their first community-voted exotic weapon ornament, where we picked one of 3 weapons to get a new ornament, then again picked one of those 3 ornaments for the winning weapon. This happened via email. The time has come for the winning Arbalest ornament to enter the store next season. We've been waiting a long time. We also have the next vote for 3 new weapons, Witherhoard, Thunderlord, or Izanagi's Burden. The email was sent a couple days ago, and the voting will end later this week, so enjoy choosing. Also, the final Iron Banner is next reset, and will be the Fortress mode from last season. And wow, that is hopefully most things that are coming and currently known through official channels. Probably some things that I've missed or forgotten, but we'll hear plenty more soon, and this is already quite the discussion. Most of you have probably already signed off, completely understandable. My voice is probably very boring to hear for this amount of time, but on the rare chance you stuck around, thank you. That truly means a lot. And now for some shameless promo. You thought you were safe. Because yes, if you did enjoy this in the background or found this at all helpful, leaving a like or dropping a sub would go a very long way and would be very much appreciated. If you're still interested in getting refreshed or learning new things, then how about checking out this prep guide on GMs for this season? It's quite handy, I've heard. Well, that's all from me. Later! Also, nothing for Gambit, LOL.